hand, pretty eye, pirate smile, the merry music man, ballerina, you must have seen dancing in the sand.
All right. Good morning. Good morning. It is 6:32. It is September 17th. I hope everyone's feeling well. It is Fed Day. Going to be interesting. Probably one of the Fed days where you have the most kind of unknowns, where multiple things can happen. Everyone's asking me my opinion. I don't really have one. I don't think they go a half. I think they go a quarter, and then just kind of they can give a quarter and a dot plot. I think the street's expecting like maybe 2, not 3 this year. 3 this year is just too much, especially with the market at all-time highs. And then maybe 2 next year. If that's the case, you might get some volatility. But, I don't think the market's going to be too upset about it. Bottom line is market's at all-time highs. You can get some volatility today. Know what you can handle. If you trade for a living, if you're looking for a paycheck in September, know what your time frame is. If you have an IRA that you trade that you don't get paid on, don't get rid of some positions you love, based on what's going to happen today. But you got to be able to use your cheer system and navigate. But anyway, my name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3 Live. I'm the founder of Red Dog Mindset. This is the 630 Club. I've been doing this since 2020. I think I give a lot of great ideas. Lots of people make a lot of money, where I focus on the narrative, the key to the day, what to look at, what levels, and I usually go over my 20 minutes that I'm allowed. But anyway, we're kind of flattish, which makes some sense. SPYs are down 50 cents. We hit 661.78 yesterday. Yesterday in the 630 Club, we were up $1. I said trim into some strength and maybe add to some hedges. If you did so, you were able to make some money on longs, make some money on shorts, and keep managing your process. Manage your process. That means net money. Move around. Look for the setups. And for today, we'll see. If you look here, the 8-day is down here. So this is 650. What is this? This is like 655-ish. So, sometimes on Fed Day, they like to stop out some uncommitted longs, or sometimes, they want to stretch out guys who've been rolling up short. So just write down some levels. In order to get to 655-ish, what do you have to do? You got to get below and stay below 659.21. Right now it's, 659.42. In order to get to new all-time highs, you got to get through there. So frame your trades. If IWM is worth looking at on Fed Day, definitely is. If they do I'm going to just say a half, or they really sound extra dovish, chances are, you're going to see in the IWM a move, through 241 towards 244. Right now, the IWM is flattish, so it's a little relative strength with the SPYs, but not a big deal. You've had a great trend. We made a lot of money right here at inflection points. Right now, we're like, we're at a spot where it's, you don't need to be at a crazy inflection point, where you have so much at risk. Right now, get through the Fed Day alive. There's so many false moves and so many things that kind of are annoying, to be honest, that what's going on right there is you just want to, be a little careful. I have a bunch of positions that I've been managing. I took some risk off yesterday. Thank goodness, you guys are all ready to go with stocks. So, I've been all over this China trade, which hopefully has made you guys a lot of money. The KWEB, basically, we talked about when it, took out this trend line, and it's been above the 8-day since, and it's been awesome since. Awesome, with a lot of follow through. I had BABA as a power play, which looks good. It's up again today. Would I be buying BABA if I were you? No, not today up here. We were buying BABA, down here, making really good money. Into this move, what I would do, I'd be trimming some. Baidu has been unbelievable. Baidu we had here, down here. We had a few different power plays also. What a move yesterday. I've shown you guys a weekly chart telling you that this thing can get to 155. And anyway, at this point, hopefully, you have some and you're just figuring it out. To be honest, I I'm very big in JD, which hasn't really done anything yet. I think JD can get towards 39. I have some $35 calls, some $35 calls, and some $37 calls. We started buying this in this area, you know. Got through 34.40 yesterday. Technically, that's great. So I would think 37.50, obviously trim and trail. But this was a really nice candle, nice move. So, JD, the options were really cheap. So far, people have made 300% on the options. The my power plays are in there looking really good. And you see what's next here. But again, you always got to trim a little bit into some strength. Pony's been good. I talked to you guys about Pony last week. We talked about Pony. Not only talked about it, bought it. I was buying Pony here. I bought options here. Went sideways, added, and now Pony's up. It's not up a whole lot. It's up. It's up 2%. JD is up what? 1.7% really. And then I bought PDD yesterday. PDD's up 3. So 132. I'm trying not to get too involved and too nuts and too crazy in all these names, but if there's a lot of patterns. There's a lot of patterns. Like this above 133-ish, you got nothing to 155-ish. So it's a big, big, big channel. Okay, so and there's a whole big void here. So if it wants to get in there, I was like, you know what? I'll buy some options. Neo, I'm not in. Don't really care too much about that, but it looks like it's on its way to 770, which is cool. And then in the news today, you know what? NVIDIA is down. I actually got rid of my NVIDIA yesterday, thank God. I was thinking that maybe NVIDIA could be all right and NVIDIA could hold this area. And then yesterday just showed so much relative weakness that I'm like, I don't need to be in NVIDIA. And, the market doesn't matter. When NVIDIA is like not a headwind, the market kind of doesn't care. But when NVIDIA, breaks into this gap, that's not the greatest thing. So we'll see what happens today. Where's NVIDIA? NVIDIA is, down 270, so it's already below this area, filling this gap down to 171-ish. I took off NVIDIA stock yesterday, but I do have some options, which it is what it is. I had it on just in case I wanted to clear 180 or 185, which it's not doing. So again, it's in this whole big range, and maybe the people like China and Trump are playing chess. That's fine. Open happens. Yeah. Little Curbs says Pony had a nice 3-day move. All you could ask for is nice 3-day moves. Someone's like, Red Dog, Tesla's down 250. Like, it was funny yesterday. People were like, you should be adding Tesla. I'm like, you know what? My Tesla had 3 gap ups in a row. I know the way these things trade. Chances are we're going to be able to buy it lower. And right now, Tesla's down 3, which is great. To be honest, I'm the smallest I've been in Tesla since this breakout right here. I would think this area holds. What's yesterday's low? These are your points of reference. 411.43. See if it holds 411.43. 411.43. That's yesterday's low. Sometimes with Tesla, they like to jam it through, stop you out, and then come back above. Okay, which could happen today. I am not looking to buy it yet. It's only down $3. It's not a big deal. You guys are spoiled. You guys are spoiled little brats. Oh my God. Come on, guys. Look at the size of this move. The stock's down $3. 411. If it holds above 411 and goes green today, chances are there's going to be another great trade if the market hangs in post-Fed through this 425. Okay, and then what you want to do is you want to see where all the different resistances. So 440 is a spot, 465, then 488. Big move. A lot of my guys went back to the highs of the year. A lot of them made a lot of money. So congratulations to everybody who bought Tesla with me here. I bought it in power plays options. The Alpha team saw it. My whole community. Thank you, Elon. Let's see. Hey, thank you, Elon. I told you, Elon is a brain surgeon when it's above the 821 day. He's a little, wonky and cynical when it's below. Anyway, with that being said, we'll see if it hangs above here, lets the 8-day catch up. Sometimes it goes sideways. I bought a little Rivian yesterday. People are like, why'd you buy Rivian? I don't know. Just when Tesla's really good, sometimes Rivian goes. I've seen a lot of them on the road. It's not a focus, but at some point, if this were to get through 1465, there's a lot of Yeah. So Rivian's not so bad. I had some options that were working. I bought, and now I'm in some stock. We'll see. Um, some people ask me what happened to Amazon. I don't think anything just happened to Amazon. Amazon just had a big move, right? Amazon is trying to repair. Amazon just went from 226 to almost to right into what is this 235? Okay, 235.90, and it's down $1.20. Ooh, you guys are everyone is spoiled, 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 spoiled. Imagine if we go down for 2 days hard. What are you guys going to do then? Anyway, with that being said, um, I would like to see this go sideways here. It'd be awesome if Amazon could kind of hold above this little spot the next today even. It would go a long way for it to rebuild here to then perhaps take this 238.80, 242 out. But again, September 17th, the Bears are saying they're going to sell the news today that now everyone who said the market's going down in August and September say, oh, seasonality is the last 2 weeks of September. It wasn't August and September. Anyway, so we'll see what the market does today. And Amazon had a rumor that it was going to be part of the TikTok. Yes, they did, MOD, and now there's no TikTok deal, so I get it. So that means Oracle should be down a lot too, right? Oracle, this has been kind of annoying. They sold the strength every single time here. Still above this gap. What's Oracle doing today? Oracle is, flattish. So anyway, but again, I don't think in the scheme of things, Amazon is it's down $1.25. It's so Amazon would be frustrating if it broke today, if it broke this 232-ish and got below it. Then you have to go, okay, range bound, gotta give it a little bit of a break and let it do what it's going to do. Anyway, Apple's been very strong. Apple repaired really fast. Wow, right? They sold the news down right here, kind of bounced back on this day, repaired and said that this meant nothing. Okay, and now pretty cool for those in Apple. Apple kind of got me good, whereas the fact I thought this was going to happen, but I thought it was going to start from here and it went down to there. So, I didn't navigate that the best. So people ask me where is the 200-day for JD? Okay, the 200-day for JD, for some have it at 35.72. Well, you guys must have the SMA because to me it's already above the 200-day, and now you have some real room here. It'd be nice if it had a real this is a cool move and all, but this is like slow as molasses. Like this was a move for JD, so I would think it stretches a bit. But we'll see. So don't take too much off today. Take a little bit off today, not too much off today. Thoughts on Netflix? Netflix is such a hard trade. Netflix gave you, if you were very, very active in Netflix, you probably got stopped out at 12.32, and then you had the luxury to play a Red Dog reversal at 11.82. But it's just a hard name, So I'm not in Netflix. I put it to my go-to list every day. I know it's up today because the Warner Brothers deal might not go through. So if you're in it, congratulations. Hard to be in it unless you really, really, really have a thesis there. So I get it. Boeing broke. Boeing's a tough name. Got to the 100-day. What's Boeing doing this morning? So it's up 50 cents. I heard some rumblings that Trump is trying to work some kind of deal with President Xi. I don't want to say his name wrong, but by Friday. And in the deal is China buying some Boeing planes. So from here down, maybe it's worth a look. Yeah, Rolanda says BMNR. So I gave you guys in the 630 club BMNR here when it broke this spot. And now it's looking pretty good, like it's on its way to 70. Just got to be a little careful, because got to see what Ethereum does. It's obviously correlated to Ethereum. If this is the low in Ethereum, which I did buy yesterday, 36.44, chances are that's fine. Somebody said to me this morning, like, Bitcoin is so lethargic, Ethereum is so lethargic. I'm like, just so you guys know, seasonality-wise, Bitcoin doesn't usually have an Ethereum a good September. Usually they call it October because it corrects in September. This really is not much of a correction. This, to me, is just a great, a really nice digestion. So I think everyone's just getting a little spoiled. You can't be spoiled out there. So anyway, I'm buying Ethereum. I do think this 4013 gets taken out, but it might be a little closer to November-ish. If you look at Bitcoin, Remember when I did the turkey trot last year when everyone made fun of me and I'm like, you want to buy Bitcoin now as it trots to Thanksgiving, because on Thanksgiving, your mother-in-law is going to tell you to buy Bitcoin, your cab driver or Uber driver is going to tell you to buy it. By that point, it's going to already have had a nice move. So if you look here at Bitcoin, when everyone was getting all upset about it because it was in such a range, okay, back here, all right, this was, this was September. September was, not a great time for, they actually stopped people out in September. And then finally kind of got going right around, this was October, where it cleared. And then this was November, when it really started its move to take out the highs, so just don't be overly focused here, especially considering, look at the move that Bitcoin just had. It's showing a lot of relative strength for September, and I'm not a crypto guy, so just chill out. Anyway, to me, Bitcoin looks good. I'm in Bitcoin. I'm in Ethereum. A lot of people like this SOLT. This I put this on the radar down here, which is 2 times SOL. It's hanging out. It's above the 8-day. Some think that this is going to be explosive when Bitcoin gets through the highs. Yeah. Crypto names better to buy time for options. Yes. Mr. To me, someone asked me why is Mr. so bad. Mr.'s run a big course. Look how tight Mr. is right there. Mr. looks pretty good. Pretty good. Like Mr. thinks that it looks like cryptos are ready to go. Look how tight Mr. is. I think you can go out and buy the 350 calls, and go out a month. But again, you don't have to. I feel like you could buy the underlying crypto and not have to have any of the worries of these. I'm very heavy in Wolf. The Wolf, I started buying it in here, pretty large, got through 980. I've been managing it. I think if this could hold in here for a little while and Bitcoin and crypto gets better, I think this is really good. Josh Mandel says Bitcoin peak November 8th. Okay, great. Who the hell is he? Anyway, I'm kidding. Dash, yes, dashing. Everyone made fun of me on Dash when it had its little corrective phase. It's not dashing. Anyway, some stocks have to repair a little bit. So Dash was really good. I'm still long Dash. My community's making a lot of money. This has been a new name. I've had Dash on my go-to list literally for a year now. Look at this cup and handle pattern. This has been absolutely fantastic. This looks like it's going to be taking out this 257. I started really hyper focusing on it here. Listen, as a trader, you have to find new names. As a trader, you could have a go-to list. You could have the names that you've been trading and new names. This has been a new name, and this has been awesome. And guess what else has started making money? Remember Grab? Yeah, look at that moving Grab. This is supposed to be the Dash of Europe. And PS, we were buying options in here. We said it's going to 740. You know what? It's on its way. It looks really good. So I know a lot of guys out there are complaining about the market. I don't know what the hell you're complaining about, unless you're like following perma bears and you're listening to the TV set and you follow guys that play traders on TV that don't really know how to frame trades, don't know how to calculate risk, don't know how to use a tier system, don't know day count rules. But anyway, we use all that here. So yeah, Dash has been great. Dash has just been on the side too. It's pretty cool. This is what the daily chart looked like this on Grab. Finally, it went. This is a good example of endurance also. I remember trading it right here and it didn't work. And then here, everyone from the Alpha team was like, hey, Red Dog, Grab's ready to go again. I'm like, you know what? I'll take some 550 calls, and meanwhile, I made a lot of money back there because, you know what? I went back to it. It wasn't ready. If you try a stock and it doesn't work when you try it, doesn't mean it's not going to work a month later. It means it wasn't ready when you tried it, and it doesn't remember the fact that you tried it there. So you have to have the endurance to go back to it. That's why I created Red Dog Mindset, to help you with your routine, your process. That's why I get up early at 4:45. That's why I'm in the sauna from 5:20 to for 20 minutes with 300 plus people around the world who subscribe to it. That's why I do whiteboard weekends. So there's a whole mental side of your wellness to help you execute on the X's and O's. And I've seen thousands of traders coming in and out of T3, and most of them fail because they don't have their mind right and they don't know how to think clearly and they think it's easy. Life's not easy. What's your hard? Losing money, not learning, and going to find a new career? Or is your hard doing hard things to make your go time that much better? Anyway, John Boston says he's in Grab and you called. Okay. UMAC has been good. All right. Yeah. UMAC, rebuilding. I'm still there. These are the, this is the drone side. This looks like it's heading higher. It's been in a consolidation also. The quantum names were absolutely awesome. I was on the stocks on Spaces telling these guys to start buying options in here, and what a move it had. Holy cow. Um, RGTI looks like at some point, this is going to get above this 2013. I've been in it since down here, though, and then get through 2142. I like that one a lot. Kenneth says, thanks for IONQ. Thanks. MLD's been around a long time. You have. You're like, I'd love to get you a Red Dog sandwich. Come to Short Hills. Scott, I've been Dash for a while now. I trade credit spreads in Dash, and the options are decent. I like to trade stocks where I can sell premium too. I agree. I get that. A lot of my friends trade options. So this is, by the way, if you want to talk to me, you could talk to me right here through the comment section. But there's this weird kaleidoscope thing here, so that's why we all collaborate together. If you really want to talk to me and spend time, we have an open house going on right now with the Alpha team. You could just sign up for the open house and come in. There's 500 traders in there during the trading day, looking at ideas, posting news, talking relative strength, while I'm trying to quarterback with my positions and things going on. So if you feel like you're not having success, you better do something different. If you want change, you have to make changes in your routine and process. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. So Blue Dome contract from U.S. government soon. ASTS, maybe. Something happened to RKLB yesterday. Actually, they raised money. So this was kind of a weird day there. I kind of think ASTS is working on a bottom. I've been in this thing for a while now. We had a huge move here. This made people so much money. That move right there. Again, those who got tired out right here didn't go back to it, but this was great. And then this is where it broke. It's in rebuild mode. People still love this. I think institutions are still behind it. It's just taking its time. This got hit twice with RKLB and hasn't come back. But anyway, we'll see. May I hear your thoughts on BBAI? Sure. So BBAI is just a small little spec name. A lot of guys were clamoring about it yesterday on the Alpha team. So I bought some. The word out there is that, the guys that are with this company are friends with the Donald. There was some news that some congressmen started buying it also. It wasn't Nancy. So I was like, I'll buy some. What's it doing this morning? BBAI, it's down 17 whole cents. So I think you could probably nibble a little bit. And if it were to get above the $6, it can continue. Sometimes, it rewards you and gives you follow through, and sometimes it absorbs a little bit and then goes. So this is just a spec AI type play. You can't make a living on these things, but if you have a multiple position, sometimes they pay you. Kenneth Rosenberg says, Jake, I can't even say wata cool, mentioned last week that 40 is very possible this week. All right, it is possible. And, you have it above the moving averages. So we'll see how it goes. I like to trim and trail. It's not all or nothing, but that's cool. ASTS at risk of a new deal between SpaceX and EchoStar. That's true, little Carpster. Any thoughts on Bull? Bull, yeah, everyone on the internet loves this Bull, but to me, it's a hard trade. I've tried it a bunch of times, made a little bit of money. I tried it around here and I lost. So for some reason, it's, obviously this is a big base. At some point, it'll wake up, but you got to wait for like 10 times the volume, or something like that. But anyway, I got to jump. Again, let's be realistic here with Tesla. Tesla's been a great trade. I'd watch it today for some clues to some of the action and some of the risk, because it's been risk on. Does 411 hold? That would be very, very impressive. Or does 402 hold? If it were to break 411, then that's your next level. If it were to hold that, chances are, sooner than later, it's going to get through that 425. Anyway, multiple plans today. It's Fed Day. Fed days are tough. I probably lost money 7 out of 10 Fed days. Actually, I've been in this market for 32 years or something like that. So, anyway, so just know that they're going to do multiple gyrations from 2 o'clock to then he speaks at 2:30, and then there's multiple gyrations, and then when he's done speaking, there's multiple gyrations, and then sometimes you get a trend in the last half hour, but then sometimes they do the opposite the day after. So just, keep your head right, know what you're committed to, make sure not to have too many things that could ruin your week or your month, and just know your levels. Know your levels. And the SPYs, once again, you take a closer look here. If they wanted to shake things up, which they could, maybe they don't, maybe they do, To get to 655, which is the 8-day, which it's gotten to a bunch of times. It's even got to the 21-day, which is all the way down here. This is your active upper pivot, and then this is a compelling spot to try a little bit. And this, if they decide to run them, that's what it's got to get above. All right, guys, I appreciate you. Come to the open house. A lot of really good, human capital minds there.